No, I did not see it coming. I was getting ready for my prom, getting out the shower, and I got a call from Jay Brown, who works for Jay-Z, and he just told me, it was a nice run, kiddo, but, gotta let you go. So that was the end of it, and I just kept it to myself for like 6 months. I didn't want to tell anybody because I didn't want to deal with the questioning and all of that, so I just kept it to myself, and finally people started hearing it through the grapevine.
You kind of had like a mentor relationship with Jay-Z during that time?
Yeah, he was definitely a mentor. He was like a father figure.
Lady of the rock.
She's the princess.
The princess.
Yeah.
Okay, and what sets her apart as an artist from other R&B vocalists, female, that you think?
I just say, like, she's young, you know what I'm saying? So the integrity and the truth in what she's saying, you know what I'm saying, mixed with how she's really a sweet, innocent girl if you speak to her, you know what I'm saying? But she's seen a lot, so.
Y'all remember how quickly Tiara Marie disappeared from the music scene one minute? She was the princess of Rockefeller with all the options laid out in front of her, and the next she's kicked to the curb by Jay-Z, while Rihanna, a fresh face from the Caribbean, is propped up as the next big thing. And if Jay-Z and Beyoncé think that they're going to get away with what they did just because Rihanna came out to be such a big star, then they are in for a rude awakening because Tiara Marie is still holding grudges. There's always been talks about how Beyoncé basically derailed her career because she saw Tiara as a threat. Well, let's break down what really happened between them.
And we had a showcase. And at the showcase, there were 2 artists performing. Her name is Tiara Marie, and she's a really sweet girl. And the truth is, I was paying a little more attention to her than I was to Rihanna. After the showcase, Beyoncé just gave me one of those looks, and he said, that Rihanna girl, she's a beast. And she looked away, right? And I was like, so I did a Rihanna double take. But it wasn't as though I didn't believe in Rihanna. I love that girl, right? But I paid a little more attention when Beyoncé said that.
One thing folks have been saying is that there's nothing like a morally upright billionaire because they must have stepped on some people's heads to achieve so much. And the way that Jay-Z and Beyoncé moved, especially in the early 2000s, keeps proving that they ain't all the way straight up soon. After she turned 16, Tiara Marie was put in the spotlight after she got signed to Def Jam by Lil Reed. Tiara's mentor, Big Mike of Kiss Productions, had shopped her demo to a few music execs, and the minute Lil Reed heard her saying he thought that she was going to be the next big star, even Def Jam's A&R exec, Shakir Sturt, was so impressed with her that he said, quote, Tiara was a star. When she walked into the room, she captured the room when she did her audition. We fell in love with her from day one, end quote. Tiara was young, pretty, and had this urban look that both L.A. Reid and Jay-Z believed would make her a standout in the market. And when she released her debut single, Make Her Feel Good, it did insane numbers. Jay-Z knew that he had just struck gold with this one. They started calling her Princess of Rock, took her to public events, and Jay-Z co-signed her and basically made it clear to all that Tiara was someone to look out for. Even when Rihanna came on to the scene and was eager to prove herself, the execs were not really checking for her like that because they believed that it was Tiara that was going to be the bigger star. Rihanna already had a hit with Pondera Replay, but the label still focused most of their resources on Tiara Marie, while Rihanna was basically left to fend for herself. But all it took was a few words from Beyoncé to turn this whole situation on its head. Beyoncé was already Jay-Z's girlfriend at the time, and she was also a huge star because of her success from her debut album Dangerously in Love. That album dominated the radio, and let's not forget that Destiny's Child was popular and massively successful as well. So anything that Beyoncé said about artists, especially in the R&B space, carried some heavy weight. According to L.A. Reid, they had an in-house company showcase, and Beyoncé just so happened to be there after the girls were done performing. Beyoncé approached Reid and simply told him that Rihanna was a beast. She didn't say or do too much, but that was enough to push Rihanna to the forefront. Rihanna and Beyoncé were never friends. Even now, they are more like friend-enemies than anything else, because many have always wondered why Rihanna and Beyoncé never did a song together. When Rihanna was signed by Jay-Z, as soon as Riri started getting pushed by Def Jam and got a co-sign from Jay, Rihanna started singing Beyoncé's praises, saying that every artist should be like her. But I'm guessing that she did all of that because she knew Def Jam didn't start paying attention to her out of nowhere.
Big fan of Beyoncé.
I love her.
And so has she given you any kind of advice or?
Yeah, she actually wrote me this cute little letter, and she signed it with her autograph. It was so cute. When I first met her, and she wrote, she was telling me, just let loose when you perform and just have fun and be in control. Definitely. I just thought she was, well, the first thing I saw, was her beauty and how beautiful she was. And then I listened to her music and I loved her music. She's incredibly talented. I think she's what every female artist should strive to be or strive to be like, because she, despite all her success, she still remains.
Right.
How was it like meeting her?
But according to Tiara, Marie pushing to the front of the line at Def Jam was one of the worst mistakes Beyoncé could have ever made. Just like Lou Reed, Beyoncé knew that Tiara was very talented, and that was the problem according to several theories and reports. Beyoncé saw that Tiara was going to be a problem for her brand in the future because Tiara had the same sound as her, so she decided to cut it from the root before it became too messy.
What happened was I got dropped from Rockefeller on my prom day. They didn't know.
Ready for the prom?
Yeah, honey, getting ready. I was putting lotion on my legs, got a phone call, ring, ring. Hey, yeah, we're gonna be letting you go. I was like, oh. I didn't even tell anybody that day. But, I was depressed for a little minute. I got back up. I was only 18 years of age, so it was time to get back up, get back out there, and just show my resilience. And that's what I'm doing now. And I'm here, new deal with Warner Brothers, for real, so got it.
After the release of her debut single, everyone was comparing Tiara Marie to Beyoncé, because the two of them were quite similar in their music and performance. Styles the comparison. Between them was so much that Def Jam fed into it by G and Tiara Beyoncé's parts in Destiny's Child Lose My Breath. When her debut album Rockefeller Records presents, Tiara Marie dropped a music critic for the Rolling Stone Christian Horde said, quote, apparently Jay-Z just can't get enough of Beyoncé having scored the real deal as his girlfriend. The DJam Press is releasing records from a couple of pretty young things who obviously spent some time studying Miss B's playbook the debut. From Detroit native Tiara Marie is as full of Noan Crin and Peel end quote. And yeah, that wasn't something Beyoncé wanted out there, especially because she was just starting to find her feet as a solo artist. Everyone thought that Rihanna was just going to be this one-hit wonder and fade into the background. So imagine Beyoncé's surprise when Rihanna's name is being mentioned in the same conversation as she and some folks even saying that Rihanna might just be the more successful artist. Yikes. And it didn't help that Rihanna and Jay-Z were getting too cozy with each other, because you can't even count how many times that man has stepped out on his wife. This whole thing with Rihanna and Beyoncé got so bad that at the title press conference, an insider said, quote, the title press conference was awkward to begin with. Trying to fit all the inflated egos of Nicki Minaj, Madonna, and Kanye on stage was difficult, but Beyoncé and Rihanna made things worse. They refused to stand next to each other or speak with each other. Handler and coordinators went through great lengths to keep the divas happy. The whole show was carefully choreographed, and these two almost had nothing to do with each other. End quote. But in all their games and music politics, the one who truly got hurt was Tiara Marie. She found out that she got dropped when she was preparing for prom. She had always considered Jay-Z as a father figure, and Beyoncé and Rihanna were like family to her as well. So for Jay-Z to not even address her one time before dropping her cut her deep and showed her for the first time, there's really no loyalty in the music industry. She continued pushing forward by signing a new deal with Warner Brothers and releasing new music, but it never really hit the same Def Jam. Tried to sell her as this R&B artist and continued to push this narrative through her second single, No Daddy. But who wants to believe that a 16 or 17-year-old singer knows about that? Stuff folks were a little more forgiving when hip-hop MCs like Foxy Brown rapped about stuff like that, but people weren't really loving the teenaged R&B artist being so out there like that. But what really pushed Tiara Marie's career into a downward spiral was that some radio stations were refusing to play her songs when her song Sponsor came out. It was such a bop. It was like all the gold diggers everywhere finally had an anthem. And even if you didn't enjoy the lyrics, that song was an earworm. And with Gucci Mane and Soulja Boy on there, I mean, that song had all the makings of a worldwide hit. But for some weird reason, some shows like BET's 106 and Park refused to play it, and Bet even banned her video for that song, saying that it was too detrimental to young women. Like, really, of all the songs they have to play, Tiara's song was the one that they suddenly had issues with. Okay, so when Sponsor didn't break through, Tiara decided to give Lovin' and Hip Hop a try, thinking that it would give her career another boost, but baby, that move hit the final nail in the coffin of what was left of her music career. She was painted as this erratic woman who was always out to cause trouble, and it wasn't a good look for her at all. Her career in music was so sidetracked that Tiara was never really able to reach her full potential, and she always remained this underrated artist who could have done way more, and folks have something to say about it, of course. Quote, Beyoncé didn't see Rihanna surpassing her in the way that she did because her vocal ability wasn't as great as Tiara Marie, but here we are. LOL, she should have kept her mouth shut. End quote. Also, quote, Rockefeller really did. My girl Tiara Marie, wrong. She really could have been bigger. End quote. And another quote. Whenever that Jay-Z documentary hits, I want to know why they gave up on Tiara Marie. That debut is still everything to this day. End quote. Some might say that Riri had bigger hits than Tiara, even right from the start, but that still doesn't explain why Jay-Z was so quick to drop her that switch from investing in her to giving her absolutely nothing. Even when Tiara was bringing in all that money, really shows that the decision may have been more than a business one. But do you think that we're giving Jay-Z and Beyoncé too much credit here? Or does all of the blame for how her career turned out really fall on Tiara Marie? Sound off in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And I'll see you in the next video.